first. I want to go then to the comment that's in your story about your near brush with being a pastor. So tell us about Elite and then take us back to that point in time.
Well, Elite Strategic Services is my LLC. It's a fancy term for me, basically, and my wife helping me with the uh, bookkeeping side of things, and uh, it's a consulting platform for my work, which derives from where I started working on Capitol Hill for House and Senate members. So Elite Strategic Services is my solo work. It's yes, lobbying and public policy, uh, and also it's been focused on helping like some startups and early stage companies and some larger companies in a couple of respects. One is helping them to assess the regulatory it not in every only in a set, you know, a small set of regulated industry sectors. I don't take on the world, only the handful
Yeah.
that I have a sense of.
Yeah.
Um, so obviously healthcare is one of those, and intellectual property, antitrust, because of working with uh, the House and Senate Judiciary Committees back in the days on the Hill. And so it was it was it's been helping them to assess their regulatory risk and figure out, you know, workarounds. And if I'm working with smaller companies, they're more nimble and help them to navigate through the thicket of policy and regulations and stuff, um, or set a strategy for doing so.
So I'm gonna assume um, that obviously this is a technology science. You use the phrase STEM. This is not your average run of the mill Lee Joe that starts a company needs to talk to you, but you keep talking about the regulatory environment, which my little bit of experience in that world is that it's incredibly complex. So are you taking the complex and making it simple, or are you taking the complex and making it something they can navigate? How do you? Because I would imagine some of the smaller companies, while nimble and agile as you mentioned, would want to pull their hair out in trying to figure out how all this works.
Well, it's a little bit of making the complex simple by way of identifying what do you really need to be concerned about at this stage of your company's life or product launch life or whatever.
Hmm.
What set of things are you facing? If you're developing a drug, you're going to be facing the Federal Food and Drug Administration. You're going to be probably involved with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, so you want to protect the intellectual property that you're creating. So those kinds of things help them direct them what they need to see that those agencies are doing or planning to do or likely to do. So it's kind of a risk assessment. Mine is more taking the knowledge of how Washington works in the public policy world and
Hmm.
legislative world, and applying that as a roadmap for the initial stage or this next stage of the company's life.
So Jim, I'm curious, and I'm still going to come back. I still want to hear that story about how you didn't become a pastor because I love where you went with it. I think it has a very happy ending. How many? But everything you're saying is intriguing me. How many of of the people that come into this world that don't work with you, how many of them sort of bump their heads up against the door, can't figure out how to open it, and just give up? I know that's not you can't give me an empirical number, but I mean, it would seem like a lot of folks just throw their hands up in the air and walk away. true? And how do you help them? How do you keep them from giving up if they've got a good idea?
I wouldn't say it's always giving up. Sometimes it's ignorance is bliss, and they don't want to know what they don't know. And so they want to proceed down a road, whether it's got landmines laid by the government or not, already there for maybe decades or longer. And so it's a challenge to make them realize that, this is already something that could cause you trouble, and you need to address, like the HIPAA privacy law for health information, patient information. You've got to abide by that set of laws and rules and regulations if you're in a mobile app for health maintenance or health uh, wireless data collection of your physical and health, medical signs and so forth. You can't just put it all out there
Yes.
unless you've got millions of dollars to part with.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Who's
Not
got
as
extra
good
money
as
for that?
it's kind of it tends to be for the earlier stage companies something of a reality check, and
Okay.
at an elementary school, because they don't need to be experts in it, but they need to know the where the boundaries are. There are some boundaries, and here's a sense of where they are, and here's a sense of what the government is doing in this area and maybe going to do in the next 2-4 years or so, or even longer. I mean, there could be a rule or regulation that's long in process of coming about. That is certainly not unheard of.
Yeah. So I'm curious. A lot of our listeners are going to be wanting to know this because you're a believer. You approach this from a Christian perspective. How do you um, how do you live your faith in that complex world? I mean, the reason I'm asking for 10 different angles, I suppose. A lot of people view everything that comes out of DC as corrupt. Some of it is, but not everything. There are actually a lot of believers out there. How do you, as a man who is committed, and your bio says, look, I want to honor the Lord in my work. How do you do that in that environment? What do you face, and how do you maintain your faithful witness to the Lord in that context?
Really, the same way that any Christian in the world of business or in the government or in the military, anything would try to do, and that is to walk with the Lord, to be faithful day by day, step by step, um, be, being in prayer on the things that you're doing and on the day job,
Mm.
uh, being a witness to the people you work with or your clients or customers you serve, um, doing the things that aren't the tough things, doing the things that are pretty straightforward, like not cheating people, like not stealing their stuff, um, like by respecting others and treating others the way you'd like to be treated.
So,
That's what
in that sense, it really is the basics, right? I mean, those are fundamentals to what it means to walk with Christ.